Hi guys, we're going to tie a little jig fly. This is a must-add micro jig. It's a size 1 and 2.5 gram head on it. So what we're going to do is tie something approaching a little roach or baitfish kind of thing. So we're going to use a gel spun type thread here. And I'm really only going to be tying on maybe half of the shank of the hook, and you also have to allow for the fact that we're tying the fly upside down. So, super glue our thread tying. Now, what we can do is to hollow tie a little bunch of hair or bucktail or something like that there. Or if we take a little bit of dubbing, this is a silver sort of angel hair type dubbing, dub that on and create a little ball of dubbing. And that can kick out our hair as well. So I'm going to take a bit of a white bucktail here. I'm going to look for some of the sort of finish hair towards the tip of it. So this is essentially like a skirt to kick the rest of our materials out. So I'm going to measure it up for length. Fairly short, I suppose, relative to the fly. And then I'm going to let that splay around our hook shank. Push it out with my nails and then tie that down, and the as you can see, the little ball of dubbing there is just flaring that a little bit for us. So next we're going to create the silver part of the body, and what I've done here is I have spools of Lurex, and I've taken a very thin silver, a little bit of a pearly type one as well, and also a certain amount of gold in here, but the proportions are probably 10 silvers to one of each of the others. I pull out a little bunch of this. I'm going to fold it over and then cut it across its middle, and therefore I'll end up with twice as many strands, half the length. And I'm going to then pull one bunch a little bit past the other one, pull a few fibres out of each of them just so as we don't have a flat end, and we end up with a double tapered bunch. Essentially it's like tying our pike flies, only in miniature. And then I'm going to, same thing, tie it about 60% along its length, allow it to envelop the shank, splay it out a little bit, tie it down, and then take this and just fold it back on itself. And you see that'll give us the sort of tapered fish type shape. And then I'm going to take again our super glue and just ground that tie end point of it, and that should sort of hold it in position. Now you can put on as much or as little of this as you want. As you can see, it sort of splays out, but you can imagine when that gets wet, this is going to slick back and you'll have your sort of baitfish shape. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, because I like this stuff, this is Pearl Mirage, and I'm going to take out maybe 3 or 4 strands of that. And the same thing, I'm going to double it cut it in two, double it over again, cut it, and then misalign the ends so we get that more natural shape to it. Then I'm going to add that on, tying it halfway along its length. And then I'm going to flip it over to the far side and tie it so essentially it's on the sides of our fly. Now that may or may not be showing up on the video, but you can really get sort of like that pearlescent purpley blue flash off that. Again, a little bit of glue to hold it in place. Right, so next I'm going to create the head by sort of reverse tying this craft fur. So I have like a silver grey and like a darker grey. So when this fishes, this will be the belly, so I'm going to use the lighter one. You can use white or whatever you want here. I'm going to take a bunch of that. My craft fur is inherently all sorts of different lengths, so if you hold the tip you can pull out the shorter bit and then align those up a bit, and then you'll get a denser sort of bunch out of your craft fur. So I'm going to put that on there. I measured it up around about the length of the shank, and I'm going to cut it off at that length, and then I'm going to tie that in on the underside. The idea with this is that I want it to sort of splay around halfway, and then we'll repeat that with the darker grey bunch. So same thing, grab the tips, pull the shorter stuff out from underneath it, and align it up as it, because we're cutting this shorter than its full length. We're doing it, I won't waste the bunch. So same thing, this time what I'd do is I'd probably flip the fly upside down and then tie that in. And just separate it all out so that it seems to be encompassing the hook. Now I wouldn't worry too much about trimming that off, because that will actually flare out your head that little bit. I'll take that through a gap in the craft fur to the front, a few turns in, and then I'm going to glue a bit of our tying thread. Make sure all is held back in position. Stroke all these fibers back, and then start to wind that in. And because there's super glue along it, it'll start to build up a little bleb, and that will both keep our tying thread together, and it'll set the head position. Trim that off. And then you can use a little brush to just brush that out. So this is the idea now, and you turn it upside down. We'll try and get it into the jaws of the vise. So we have a little mini baitfish sort of jig, about the length of my finger. So we're going to add some eyes to that. Variety of different ways of doing that. UV, standard glues, or a little bit of epoxy. I'm going to use epoxy. So I'm mixing the two parts together here with a cocktail stick, and I do that on a stack of Post-its. So you only need a little bit. turn the fly up on its side, and just where I'm going to put the eye, I'm just going to stab that epoxy into it, and that'll hopefully get a little bit down almost to the shank. It'll strengthen the fly and I think keeps the eye on a bit better. What I want to do is put the eye directly into the middle of the thing and then slide it forward, push it down a little bit, take our cocktail stick, I'm trying to get a little bit of it just across the lip of the eye, and that will strengthen it up. So as you can see, that's the idea behind the fly. I'll flip it over and do the other side the same, or you can let one side dry and then do it. Okay. These are actual sort of lifelike roach type eyes, but you can use a standard red or whatever you have. Again, push that down. A little bit of a lip just over the front part of that eye. And if you want, you can take your epoxy and just join the two bits of epoxy across the bottom and across the top. And that is our little roach jig made. And that would be for perch or trout, or I suppose listen, pike will eat that too, but it's designed for, I suppose, smaller predator species. This is a 5-minute epoxy. It tends to dry probably a little bit quicker than 5 minutes. What I'm doing is I'll just, while it's drying, push it periodically down into the epoxy. I'm just going to hold that head down a little bit because I don't want to mask my the cape of my hook too much there. Just check that they're level. That is our little roach. Now if you wanted to fancy that up, you could of course have added a little bit of red fur or something in as fins there, but hopefully you'll agree that's a fairly lifelike little jig pattern. So if you like what you see, like and subscribe, should be a button for you, and until next time, tight lines, and thanks for watching.